boys are going to bring the heat today.
As the leader of the Booner Pack, I lead from the front.
All right, boys. Lock in.
It's our core foundation, man. Grit.
I'm fired up. I'm fired the f*** up, boys.
It's pumping right now. It's got my juices pumping, boys.
Good morning. Welcome to the Jeff Iafrate Show here on a Monday morning, March 31st. And we got a big week this week, whether people know it or not. The owners meeting, where all the coaches, GMs are down. I think it's in Florida, talking to the media. I think today is the AFC side, and then tomorrow's NFC. So you'll get Brad Holmes quotes. You'll get Dan Campbell quotes. It'll be awesome. And we'll be covering here on Crunch Time. But lots to get to today. I have my mock draft 6.0. Yeah, we're on 6.0. Probably going to get closer to 10.0. But trying to keep these things a little more creative. You know, people enjoy draft content. I know I do myself. So today I got another mock draft for you guys to kind of break down. Of course, I'll get into the Pistons game over the weekend. You know, the Isaiah Stewart stuff, Naz Reid, Dante DiVincenzo, Ron Holland, Marcus Sasser, them getting ejected, JB Bickerstaff getting ejected as well. And then I have some quotes from the owners meeting today. So I'll dive into all that. One of them referencing Aiden Hutchinson. Jim Harbaugh spoke on Aiden Hutchinson and his injury. But I hope you guys are having a great morning. It's Monday. Get after it. And I see Silent says, first time actually catching these as a start. Well, appreciate you, Silent, for tuning in. That means a lot to me, man. So, like I said, we'll get into it. The Dull Spoon says, what days are the draft? Well, the draft is at the end of this month. So we still have some time here. A little under a month until the draft. So it's coming, couple weeks away. But once it's here, it's here. So it's like I want it to come quickly, but at the same time, enjoy this process. Because afterwards, then you have to wait. And then you got June, you got all the months leading up until training camp. But you got some OTAs in there too. But still, it's the big event. So I want it to happen quickly, but at the same time, just enjoying the process here. You know, it's what it's all about. But let's dive into it. I got the video from, this is the fan recording of the Isaiah Stewart fight. I'm going to play this. It's an interesting angle of it all. And I'll share my thoughts on just the scrap itself. What do I think about really the Pistons and JB Bickerstaff, the job he's doing? But here's the clip. Someone captured this. It's a great video. It's a great angle of the entire fight. But let's see. Let's check it out.
Boy, you not like. Boy, you look, boy.
$35 is out. All right, so this is it was kind of cool, if I'm being honest. In the NBA, like I'm a huge NBA guy. All right, I love the NBA. Obviously, I love football, but basketball is my first love. Even though no one's actually going to do anything, I mean that's just how the league is. Whenever there's like an NBA fight, no one's doing nothing. All right, no one's fighting, no one's scrapping. It's not how that works. All right, it's not like it was in the 90s. Or the 80s, where people would actually swing. It's a little different. A lot of pushing, a lot of shoving, a lot of drama, and then it gets separated. No one's actually throwing down, which, again, it's fine. I'm not asking for people to punch each other in the face, although I am a big MMA guy. I actually don't mind it. That's why I like hockey in the same breath. But with this situation, man, like it's big nothing burger. Guys just pushing each other, getting physical. Obviously, there was ejections. Marcus Sasser, Isaiah Stewart, Ron Holland, JB Bickerstaff, Naz Reid, and Dante DiVincenzo all got thrown out of that game, which, okay, by the way, if people not learn their lesson with Isaiah Stewart, don't play with this guy. Don't mess with him. Just don't mess with him. I mean, the guy chased LeBron around the court. It's just like, just don't do it with blood coming down his face. Don't do it. All right? Isaiah Stewart does want the smoke. Okay, he's one of those guys. He has no problem with the smoke. If there's smoke, he's there. That's what he's about, which I do appreciate about Isaiah Stewart. I've been defending Isaiah Stewart for a little while now. And I know I see on Twitter people talking about Isaiah Stewart, and it's funny to me when other fan bases, I think it was someone from the Minnesota sports Twitter, obviously the Timberwolves involved in the fight. So someone had to comment. And they're like, what does this guy do besides get into fights? What does he actually do? I've never seen a highlight from this guy. That was one of the comments. I've never seen an actual basketball play from this guy. It's always fights. It's always scraps. Well, that's what someone would say that doesn't really watch the Pistons. All right, I'm not saying Isaiah Stewart's one of the best players on the team, but what he is someone that is self-aware enough to understand his role. That's what I love about Isaiah Stewart. He understands what his role is. He's like, hey, I'm not the most talented guy on this team. I don't even start. Jalen Duren is the starting center. But you know what I do bring? I bring effort. I bring grit, which is something the city of Detroit loves. And like defensively, he is one of the better rim protectors right now in the NBA. Yeah, he is. Just go look at the data. He's one of the hardest guys to score on in the post. He's got a little versatility to him too. He's a really good defender. But more than that, he's an energy guy. That's what he is, right? He's going to give you rebounds. He's going to bring you great defense. Yeah, he's going to bring you effort. And he's going to be an enforcer, which okay, look at Detroit sports, all right? And look at specifically the Pistons. When they were at their best, they had what? They had enforcers. Now, it was a different time in the NBA, but Isaiah Stewart is exactly what you want. Exactly what Detroit needs right now is someone that won't back down to anybody, someone that'll defend their teammates, someone that'll step up to the challenge. And if he has to protect someone, he's going to protect someone. And you do need a little bit of an instigator. You do, especially in the postseason. It's just how it goes. And Isaiah Stewart is exactly that. He's an instigator, but not like he's going to bring problems to them all the time. But if it goes there, he's not afraid to finish it. All right, if someone starts it, he'll finish it, which I do appreciate about Isaiah. He's a high character guy too. Like, he's a great dude. I know it probably seems like if you're from another fan base, he's probably the most toxic human being, but he's really not. He's a good guy. Great guy, actually. I've gotten a chance to listen in on some press conferences. I've been out there to I've been out there to LCA and got to listen to him speak. I mean, he says what up to all the reporters, super polite, but on the court, he is a different animal. Okay. There's a whole nother personality to Isaiah Stewart. And it's exactly what the Pistons need right now. They just do, especially for a young team. And he's not even he's a young player still, but he brings exactly what they're looking for. And you could tell JB loves it. I mean, JB, the job he's been doing has been excellent. I mean, they've already tripled their wins this season from last year. They've tripled it. So, which I'll get to that in a second, by the way, because I think he should be coach of the year, no doubt. But JB leads all coaches in techs. Like, and it's not something you probably hang your hat on, but what it shows is he has fight in him too. He'll stand up for his players. And that message trickles down to the team, right? You have guys that back up their coach, but also back up the players. And Isaiah Stewart's going to protect his guys. If someone's messing with Cade, someone's messing with someone else, like, for example, Ron Holland, a rookie. Isaiah Stewart's like, don't worry, I got it. Don't worry about it, man. He ended up getting ejected anyway, but the fact that Isaiah Stewart, and by the way, it was clear if you watch they were talking trash. Dante DiVincenzo and Isaiah Stewart were already talking trash to each other on the other side. So for people that are like Isaiah Stewart instigated it, that was Dante DiVincenzo too. Okay, if you watch the game, Dante DiVincenzo instigated that as well, and Isaiah Stewart just finished it. But he'll protect his players, and I love that about Isaiah Stewart, man. As much as good of a defender as he is, talk about his on-court presence, I love it. And I think all Detroit fans should love him. He's a glue guy. It's exactly what he is. He is a glue guy. And for all the flack he's gotten, there's a lot of contending teams that would absolutely take Isaiah Stewart right now on their team. They would love him as like a seventh man. Who wouldn't love that? A backup big like him, especially in the postseason when, your ability to switch becomes even more valuable. And he's 6'8". He can switch on multiple positions. He brings a lot of versatility, which is great. And I think the Pistons, guys, this is what someone asked. Cade, love the name, by the way. What's up, Jeff? What's going on, Cade? He says, how far do you think the Pistons can go in the playoffs? Well, that's a great question. And I don't know where you guys are at. I mean, comment right now in the chat. I'll read some answers off. How far do you believe the Pistons can take it? because I think this team has a lot of things you look for in good playoff teams. So I think they'll win an NBA championship or make the NBA. No, I don't. I don't. And I could be proven wrong. They did more than what I expected. I said 35 wins, and they already have more than that. So I was wrong, even though I was more positive. But, they could go on some run. But when I look at a run for the Pistons this year, I look at it as possible. And what I mean by that is, could they win a series? Could they win a series, go to the second round, and maybe put up a fight and lose in 6 or 7? I think that's probably more likely. I do. Because, they don't have all the talent in the world, which, at the end of the day, as much as defense is valuable, and they are a very good defensive team, they bring a lot of, especially they have length, athleticism. They can match up with you with size. Especially when you have a 6'6" point guard and you have a lot of length that helps. They have shooting. Obviously, when shots are falling. Malik Beasley and Tim Hardaway Jr. And then, of course, if Cade's hitting, it's a whole nother thing. They have things you look for in playoff teams, right? They have a star player, a superstar player. I think he's a top 10 NBA player. I argued that last week. So for Cade, his game in the postseason, I think, is very beneficial to the Pistons, right? He's 6'6". He's a playmaker. He's a scorer, 3-level scorer by that. I mean, that's even more important, right? He can finish around the rim. He can kill you in the mid-range. He's a pretty good three-point shooter. I think he's shooting like 35, 36% from 3. So he brings a lot. He's a matchup nightmare. Teams are going to have to try and double him, figure that out. And, of course, if you leave shooters open and guys are hitting shots, then, yeah, they can make plays. And like Lions Trolls just brought up, and I think it's a very valuable thing for contending teams, but just playoff teams in general, is a good bench. They have a good bench. Dennis Schroeder is a very underrated acquisition, and his playoff experience, I think, is going to help them a lot. Dennis Schroeder he's the perfect guy. I love him. He's a good player, solid player, guy to come off the bench for you. I'm a fan of that trade. So Dennis Schroeder, that bench, finally you have a point guard to lead the bench unit, but that bench it's a good bench. So they have a lot of things you like. I think at some point talent's going to catch up to them, which is okay. Like they're still very young. They still have some money to spend. They still have some moves to be made to improve. But this is an exciting team. I think realistically, to answer the question, what do I think they can do? I think they'll win a playoff series because right now they'll probably match up with, if they match up with the Pacers, I still like the Pistons in that series. I think it'll be very close, but I think they'll steal a series, in 7 games, 6 games. I don't think it'll be a, 5 games gentleman's sweep, but I think it'll be a 6 or 7 game series. I would have the Pistons winning that. And then in the second round, like I said, I think they'll fall short, but they'll put up a fight. That's what my expectations are for the playoffs. And the fact that I even have them winning a series is monumental for where this team is. And that is why JB Bickerstaff is coach of the year. He just is. Yep, I said it, and I'll stand on it for the rest of the year. Okay, he is. Because, and this is the thing that I want to mention too, because people bring it up all the time. It's like NBA coaches or coaching in the NBA doesn't really matter. I know it might seem that way because when you have 5 really good players or you have guys that just fit together, they basically just win games. And it seems like, oh, I could coach this team, But there are situations in the NBA, coaching matters in every sport. Okay, it does, whether people want to believe it or not. But in the NBA, sometimes it doesn't matter as much. But JB Bickerstaff is proof that coaching matters. Literally. Look at last year. Look at this year. They had a similar roster. Obviously, they added vets. They added Tobias Harris, Tim Hardaway Jr., Malik Beasley, and Dennis Schroeder, which I don't want to, write off. Those are great acquisitions. Like those are all those are winning moves, right? They're helping them win a ton of games. I understand that. Even though they beat the Cavs without Tobias Harris and Cade, which is impressive. But of course they added players. But JB Bickerstaff, the job he's doing with this roster, their over-under was 27.5, guys? 27.5, and they've already won, 14, 15 more games than that with like 7 games left in the season. You can't, and this is where Coach of the Year gets a little out of hand, and this is with a lot of NBA awards. What is Coach of the Year? In my opinion, Coach of the Year is you look at the job, look at the team. Are they overachieving? That's what I look at. Now, there's some instances where, the Golden State Warriors win 73 games and break a record, and you're like, well, you got to give them that. You got to give Steve Kerr the award. Like, I get it, right? There's like insane years where you're like, dude, they're winning all these games. I understand that. But typically, I'm looking for overachieving. Who's overachieving? And there is no team that has overachieved more than the Detroit Pistons. No team. They won 14 games last year, and they're going to win 40-ish games this year, and they've beaten good teams. JB, and the Pistons, but without Cade, without Tobias, beat the Cavaliers fully healthy. And the Cavaliers are one of the best teams in the league. That alone should give him points for the award. So yes, JB Bickerstaff is my coach of the year. And I don't even think that's like you're a Detroit sports guy. That should just be like anyone that has been watching the NBA should just look at the Pistons and say, yeah, that dude's coach of the year. Because I'm telling you, as much as we know these players, like we can go through and name like, Ron Holland, Asar Thompson. You look at nationally, go ask someone, let's go in New Orleans, random sports fan in New Orleans, name me some players on the Pistons roster. Most likely, besides Cade, they wouldn't be able to do it. They just wouldn't. Go pick a sports guru in any city. And just, unless they've been covering the Pistons or at least paying attention, be like, hey, go name players that are starting on this team. I don't think they would get past Cade. Jaden Ivey, no, he's out. Isaiah Stewart, because he's always in fights. They wouldn't be able to name anyone. Like Tobias Harris, maybe. And look what they're doing. And that's no disrespect. I'm just saying, like, the job that JB's doing, and these guys are all overachieving. I mean, Malik Beasley should be in 6th man of the year conversations. So, and again, like, it is crazy. I cannot believe it. And they're ahead of the Red Wings right now. They just are. And I'm not just saying that because me and Mike have our little rivalry where, he talks crap about the Pistons a little bit to me, and I talk crap about the Red Wings, even though we both love both teams. It's just a little banter we have. But they're ahead of the Red Wings. Sorry, Mike. They are. And they're fun to watch. So now that I got that out the way, let's get to some lines. I want to spend some time talking about the Pistons because it wouldn't be a good show if I didn't open it with the Pistons. All right. Like I said, we have stuff to get to today. I have my mock draft 6.0. I might just do 25 of these things. And then we also have some comments from Jim Harbaugh about Aiden. And then I want to talk about what I'm expecting from the owners meeting, what I would like Brad Holmes to answer, what would be nice content for tomorrow. Because when Brad Holmes speaks, I know they're probably going to drill him with edge questions in the draft, and I cannot wait because it's content we've been waiting for. We've been waiting for this. We have. But before we get to that, I want to get to some of these comments. Motor City Street Scene. JB definitely deserves Coach of the Year based on the 180 turnaround and then being a 42-win 5th seed currently. Also, let's not forget the bad boy-ish defense they've been playing. Spot on, Motor City. Appreciate you for tuning in. But he is spot on. The 180 turnaround, the bad boy-ish defense. You got Isaiah Stewart. Mr. Ray says JB's Coach of the Year or co-Coach of the Year. I really respect Kenny Atkinson. I get it. Like, I don't want to take away the job he's doing. JB just needs some of that credit, man. He does. Cade says, I think it depends on the matchup. If we get the Pacers, I think it's a first-round exit in 6. If they get anyone else, I think they can win a series. You're being honest. You're being honest. The Dull Spoon says 2 rounds at best, but hopefully more. Yeah, that's where I'm at. That is where I'm at. Proud Cheer Dad says Beef Stew is my favorite player. I love that, by the way. He should be respected more, I think. Not just with I'm saying with Pistons fans, but just around the league. Because if Isaiah Stewart was on their team, their attitude would be different. Broski Bear, nobody has ever fought LeBron. I'm surprised it's really weak of NBA players to not ever challenge him. Yeah, there's been some players that have went at him, which it's always funny. Like Lance Stevenson has always gotten under his skin. It is funny to see someone get under LeBron's skin because he's very cool, calm, and collected all the time. And I think a lot of players respect him too much, but I do agree. It's funny when guys try to push his buttons. The Purple Prince, they're going to ask Brad why he let Z go, and his answer is going to be Davenport. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, that is probably going to be the answer. No, I'm just kidding. I wonder what it will be, though. I do. Yeah. Donkey Kong Brad, best GM ever. That is true. I'll do. Yeah, like jokes aside, best GM in Lions history. Ghetto Boy One. When are you looking at fan mocks? So we've been getting sent a lot of fan mocks, and we do want to get to them. I know it's been like the content has just been crazy, unbelievably crazy. And I would break fan mocks down on this show, but I'm going to save it for our main show. If we don't get to it today, we'll probably get to it tomorrow. So we do have to get to fan mocks, though. So if you haven't sent them, send it to our Instagram. It's all above me right here. Any of these links. I know people send it to me personally. I'm going to try and pull some for my own DMs, but if I can't, just send it to the main, preferably these two. Okay. Official CT Pod, Official CT Sports. Don't send it to Facebook or TikTok. I mean, I don't even know if you could send it to TikTok. I don't have TikTok, but send it to our Twitter or Instagram. We have a better chance of getting it in. For the when we go through them fan mocks. Weezy D, Jeff, we're gonna get Jeff, we're gonna get day one starters first 2 rounds, and we will get an edge in the 3rd or 4th. Hey, Weezy D, wait till you see mine. Levi, any chance in hell Mike Green will still be on the board when we're picking? Probably not, Levi. Probably not. I'm just gonna say that. I think there's a better chance that James Pierce Jr. is on the board. But I don't know. And by the way, today I didn't make any trades in my mock. Just to tell you. No trades today. I know last week I traded back, and I actually believe trading back is more realistic right now. I've already said that. I said that on Friday. I'm leaning towards trading back. I think it's more realistic. This class for edge, especially, I'm trying to think in the mind of Brad Holmes. If James Pierce Jr. is there at 28 and he's the only prospect and they're not in love with him, you're probably trading back. There's someone that's probably going to want to trade up and select him, or a quarterback for that matter. Who knows? Maybe the Giants take Travis Hunter and want to go back and get Jackson Dart. I don't know. We'll see. But I think trading back is more in play than people think. So even though I would hate for them to pass on James Pierce, I think you have to at least try and think of different scenarios. And that's a realistic scenario. But let's get to it. Owners meeting with all the coaches are out there. GMs are out there. Eric Woodyard. I think is how it's pronounced. I always do my guy Eric dirty, man. I always do him dirty. I think it's Woodyard. All right. He tweets out, former U of M coach Jim Harbaugh says he has no doubt that Lions star Aiden Hutchinson will come back 100% and even better this season. He'll come back stronger, faster, quicker, and more relentless. That's his makeup. Harbaugh, I bet he'll be even better. So, and by the way, I don't know why anyone would even doubt that, honestly. And Jim Harbaugh, his course, is going to say that. I mean, why would Jim just be like, oh, yeah, he's screwed? Yeah, the guy's cooked. He's toast. He's never going to be good again. But, yeah, Jim's obviously telling the truth. I'm not worried at all. The guy was golfing right now. I mean, he was golfing this weekend or last week, so nothing to fear there. Donkey Kong says, expect a trade-down scenario. Yep, I am with you. Ghetto Boy wants says, if Brad passes on Pierce, I'm outside Ford Field with torches and pitchforks. Unless we get Kenneth Grant. Malik says he's going to trade with the Eagles, let them have Pierce. Of course, I mean, I don't even. I mean, they just let Josh Sweat leave, and if they get James Pierce, that's another dude that's going to give them 8-10 sacks a year at one point. So that's awesome. So awesome. Cannot wait for that. It's great. That the frustrating thing is that's like a realistic scenario. It just is. And to be honest, I think tomorrow what to expect from Brad. So Brad and Dan are probably going to speak. I think the burning question I'm wondering, and please comment, anything you'd love to ask Brad if you were there. I think the burning question I'm wondering, like I would just have to be like, hey, Brad. Big fan, by the way, even though people will say I hate you, but I'm a huge fan of Brad. I think the question I have to ask is this Zadarius Smith stuff. It's like, what? Not why you cut him, because we're not idiots. I think all of us understand why they cut him. It has to do with the contract, and it has to do with dead money next year when he's no longer on your team. So the way it was structured, a lot of those Cleveland contracts, and this is from my guy, shout out Morgan Cannon, man, Pride of Detroit. He's a good friend of mine. He's a good guy. And he broke this down, does a great job in Pride of Detroit. And he talked about how their contracts are all wacky. Like Cleveland does a lot of restructuring, and people don't understand about restructuring is it frees up money, but it attaches like dead years or dead void years on the back of it. There's like ways they clear up money, but it ends up screwing them in the future. Yeah. And the Lions took on Zadarius Smith's contract. It was a 1-year contract, but the thing is, it's a 1 year, $11.5 million, whatever it was. And they saved that money by cutting him. But if they were to keep him the next year, when he's no longer on the team, it would have been like a $5-6 million cap hit. So that would have sucked. So the thing is, I understand why they cut him. Like, I understand. The thing I don't understand is why he's not back. That's the thing I don't understand. And the only conclusion I can come up with, this is why I would love to hear from Brad about this. And I know our media does a great job. Detroit sports media, they do a great job. So I'm sure they'll ask him, especially John Macaroon. But he's not down there, but he would ask him if he was. What's taking so long? You know, like what's the situation there? Is it because Zadarius is maybe asking for too much money? I don't know. It's weird. You know, if you want him back, maybe he wants more years. Maybe he wants like a 2-3 year deal. The Lions are only offering 1. Like that could be realistic. And I guess that's not really on the Lions. That's not on Brad. But we don't know. Or maybe the Lions just haven't really offered him. And they're just like, hey, man, thanks for your service. We're going to move on. Which that would frustrate me more. But it's the Zadarius Smith question for me. It really is. It's the Zadarius Smith question. And then I'd probably ask about, to be honest with you, either Jameson Williams and his development or Levi Onwuzurike. I'd want to know more about those guys because Levi actually had a little underrated year last year. And then JMO, I love getting quotes. You know, ask him about JMO because he's the guy that kind of gets forgotten about sometimes. And they're going to have to decide to pay him at some point. So I would love for him to ask about him. Let's see. Malik says, my question would be somewhere along the lines of, what is your philosophy surrounding the edge position and the D-line as a whole? That's a great question because I don't think anyone's been able to crack that with Brad. It's like, it's like his draft philosophy in general, you know, or like you said, the edge position and the D-line. Like, what are you thinking when you put this thing together? I mean, it's like he knows at the end of the day you want 2 really good edge rushers, but he already commented on not having 2. You can't pay all these big time guys, which I understand. You're not going to pay Trey. You're not going to pay Miles. All these guys you're trading for. I get it. I understand. But like, what's going on with that? What do you look for? Maybe the time for drafting tweeners is over. You know, no more tweeners. Can we just get dudes that can rush the quarterback? That's what I want. Not James Houston's where they're like 6'1". I'm talking guys that are big, obviously physically big. They fit they fit everything physically. But it's like, hey, you know, he's an elite pass rusher, but his run defense is okay. Okay, let's get him. Let's take him. So I would love to pick Brad's brain with that. Donkey Kong, at the end of the day, Brad is drafting BPA, so we think or want does not matter. Yeah, that's the thing I'd ask him too, guys. Is this BPA thing? It's like I understand sort of. It's like, well, it's very simple. BPA, right? That's like what it is. There's guys on the board. He takes the best player available. Okay. So there's no guarantee it's an edge then. I don't know. That's what I would respond with. It's like, okay, there's no guarantee that he's taking an edge. We really don't know. Could be an edge, or it could be a wide receiver in the first round. I don't know. A corner again. Because last year it was BPA, but they took back-to-back corners in a year where they needed corners. So you might say, well, Jeff, it lined up that way. You know, corners were just there and it lined up. Okay, so this year maybe it won't line up, and maybe you won't take an edge then. So that's where I would respond with that. It's like, I understand it's BPA. I think it's BPA more realistically for Brad. I would lean it's more BPA later in the draft. Like not later, but past like the first 2 rounds kind of thing. but we'll see. Let's see. What about Hendon Hooker? Must have been the best player available in the second round. Yeah, I mean that. Like I said, that's more BPA. I mean, even Schiff got it. If BPA is Luther Burden, I'm trading back. I mean, could Luther be BPA? Maybe you end up with Luther Burden. See, I just don't think they would ever do that. So, but watch, clip this. Maybe it ages poorly, and it is BPA, and they take Luther Burden. I don't know. But if it is BPA and James Pierce is there, I would argue he's one of those. He's a BPA. So we'll see. Silence says, like Jackson or Zabel, both would be instant starters. Yeah, they were. They are. Let's get to this mock. All right, because it'll tie into it. And guys, you're going to see as I do these, there's going to be similar picks. Similar guys that I really like. You'll notice there'll be a trend with certain guys. And I switch it up every week. Sometimes I trade back, sometimes I trade up. Today, I'm not trading at all. I'm going to stay put because, I've done trade ups, I've done trade backs. I'll probably do another trade back at some point because that's what I think most likely will happen. I've been saying that lately, even though for a while I wanted them to trade up, but I just don't know, man. Those teams in the teens that need a wide receiver, an edge, I don't know if they're going to trade back with you. So you're probably stuck unless you trade up like 2 spots maybe. I just don't think it'll be the trade up we expect, which is like 10 picks. Trade back's probably more likely. But today I didn't trade up. I stayed the same. I stayed the same in every pick. So let's get to it, huh? All right. Let me pull this out. All right. This is my mock draft. Oh, get this out the way. All right. This is 6.0. This is, you know what? We're going to have fun with this one. We are. This is going to be a good time. All right, so let's get to it. All right, so Jeff Iafrate's 2025 Detroit Lions mock draft 6.0. All right. This is where it gets interesting. Because, and I know people are probably going to see this and be like, my gosh, I've seen this way too much. But it's happening more consistently. And that is a player falling that I love. And I'm sorry. Okay, I had to do it. And that's James Pierce Jr. All right, and I'm sorry. I had to do it. And you can disagree with the pick. All right, and that's okay. I'm not going to hate it. And this is kind of a controversial pick. And people will look at me and say, Jeff, you're an idiot. Lions will never do this. Okay, that's fine. I understand it. But this is who I think would be an excellent pick for the Lions. An excellent pick. Because the proof's in the pudding. All right? The proof is really in the tape. Go watch the tape. James Pierce is incredible. He really is. Not even just the win rate, but the athleticism. He'll check every box on the field the Lions are looking for. It's just how it works. I mean, he's 6'5", a little undersized. I mean, he's 243. You probably want him to gain another 15, 20, 25 pounds, but 243. And who knows? He'll probably be heavier towards the draft, but he's super athletic. A 23% pass rush win rate. By the way, guys, that's ridiculous. I mean, in the SEC too, man. And he's had big games against big opponents. I know Alabama, he didn't have his best game. I guess, you're dealing with that offensive line. Listen, these guys are they're young guys. I mean, they're going to have games where it's like, okay, this guy needs more development. He does, clearly. But I think with Casey Rogers and hopefully, with Za'Darius, if he comes back, just like that's in the room with him, I can see James Pierce blossoming into an 8-9 sack a year guy. I do. I think he'll be that productive. He had a pick 6 in college. Love that too. It's just a little nugget you drop in there because it's like, hey, Aiden's got great hands. Aiden's had interceptions. James Pierce has great hands. And he's athletic, and he's long, right? He makes up for it. 43 hurries this season, 7.5 sacks. There's not much more I need to add. 9.5 sacks and a pick last year, or the year prior. Great pick. All right. I don't need to add much more into this. All right, let's keep it pushing. You guys already know I already see, look at this. The Purple Prince. Jeff's got a boner for this dude. I mean, it's just, okay. Can you blame me? The guy's incredible. All right, let's keep it pushing. Don't clip that. With the 60th pick, I went with a guy I love. See, these are guys I love. These are guys I love. Jared Wilson, center, Georgia, UGA, excellent center. This would be an excellent pick. He's a great pass blocker. Excellent pass blocker. This thing I love about UGA is he started 1 year. Or excuse me, Jared Wilson started 1 year at UGA. Started 1 year. Love that. 1 year. And he was excellent. He's played right guard, which I brought up last time. 0 sacks allowed, 1 hit allowed in the SEC. I mean, are we just going to gloss over that? 1 year, 0 sacks, 1 hit allowed. Played right guard, played center. I think in the NFL, he'll play center, but he could play right guard as well. So if you need him to play this year, he could play this year. Graham goes down, anything happens, boom. Jared Wilson plays right guard. And then if Frank were to go down, you have a center to play. You have a guy that could play center. So he plays both positions. Versatility. He has nothing. I mean, Georgia players, for some reason, are getting in trouble with the law consistently. I don't know what it is with speeding. Speeding is a big thing in Georgia. I don't know. I lived there for a couple of years. Everyone seemed to go under the speed limit. So I don't know where that comes from. Coming from Michigan, I was a little confused by that. But I digress. Jared Wilson, excellent pick. I think this is like the perfect. He's got all the athleticism check. He checks all those boxes. And I think this will be an excellent. First 2 picks for the Lions. Oh, I love these. And you notice how a lot of these mock drafts have been going in the trenches first. Yeah, Jared Wilson's in the trenches. And if he doesn't work out at center, he'll be one of the 2 positions for a long, long time. So the Lions will love this player. Absolutely love him. All right, let's get to the next pick. And this is where it gets a little interesting. And stick with me on this, because this is a new player. I've never taken him before. And shout out to Malik in the chat. That's my guy. It's my draft guru, man. And a lot of you guys have been talking about him too. So let's get to it. Decided to select Savion Jones, edge from LSU. And I want your guys' honest thoughts on this. All right, 102 Savion Jones. Played at LSU, had a ridiculous year. It does remind me kind of when you look at his career, because at LSU, he was okay. And just in general, I'll go through his years right now and kind of walk you guys through it. Like he had 4.5 sacks, 2.5 sacks, and then he had 4.5 sacks this past year, 2 forced fumbles. But look at go watch him. Okay. He has a 15.1% pass rush win rate, 32 hurries, guys, 32. Which is a lot. Like he's back there often. He's back there. Now the sacks, for whatever reason, he doesn't have 10, 11 sacks. But he wins one-on-ones. He's 6'6", 280, checks those boxes, and he's gotten better every year. Even if the numbers don't always indicate it. This isn't like a, I guess you wouldn't say he's like a, Shamar Stewart, where it's, 1.5 sack every year. He's gotten 4.5, 4.5, 4.5, or 4.5, 2.5, 4.5. But he's gotten better and better. And he's super long, by the way. Like check the length, the arm size. You don't have to worry about that. But he's going to give you impactful plays right away. He can win in 2 ways, 2-point stance, 3-point stance. I mean, he could do it all. And the thing the Lions will love about him, the thing I noticed when watching him, is his motor, which is what the Lions love. The thing and this is what I remember I talked about this earlier with the whole like run defender thing. He's not an elite run defender. He's okay. But for the size, 6'6", 280, he's capable. That's what you look for. So Savion Jones at 102 could be a steal. He checks every box for me, especially at 102. It's great value. And shout out to Malik, man. He's been a big fan of Savion. Same with a lot of people in the chat, but Malik's been preaching about Savion. And honestly, I love the player. So it's a great find by you guys. Great find. All right, we'll get to the next pick. So I got 2 edges. This pick, This one, okay, if I had a honest evaluation, this is a guy I just love, and he was on the board. This is where I went BPA. I just did. I went BPA, and to me, a Johnny Cornelius. I took him again, and I know what people are going to say. Well, you have Jared Wilson. He could play guard for you. Yeah, but I'm looking more so down the line in the future. And for a Johnny Cornelius to be there for me, I had to select him. I do. I had to select him because he can play tackle. He can play guard. He played right tackle, and he played right guard. But if Jared Wilson really is your future center, and Frank only has a couple years left, maybe 1-2 years, Jared Wilson will be starting at center for you. You do need a future right guard, and you might just have him with a Johnny Cornelius. And I really do. I think our Johnny Cornelius will be a great mid-round tackle guard, swing tackle, someone that can play more than one position, which I think is valuable in the NFL. That's what teams are looking for. If you can play two positions, boom, we love you, and he can do that. So even Jared Wilson, like Jared could play left guard if you needed him to, which I'm sure there have to be, a period of time where he's going to have to learn that, but he's capable. He's that athletic, and a Johnny could play right guard. You can make it work. If there's injuries, a lot of versatility, two guys that can play two positions, right? A Johnny tackle guard, Jared center guard. So I like the versatility. I know people are probably going to, well, you have two guys that can play right guard. Jared's really a center. So it's just about depth, guys. And it's about really BPA. And Johnny Cornelius at 130 was the best player available. So I had to select him. I love him. I love a Johnny. It's a good pick. Solid pick. All right. Let's keep it pushing. Like this pick a lot. It's a player people are familiar with. So let's do it. It's new. It's very new. And let me tell you, Dante Thornton Jr. This dude is a freak. He's an absolute freak. I mean, that's all there is to it. He's 6'5", ran a 4.3. 6'5", ran a 4.3. Let that sink in for a second. Look at his average yards per reception, too, which I think is the biggest thing when you're looking at Dante Thornton Jr. Yards per reception. He's 22, so he's still young. This year at Tennessee, he had like 600, almost 700 yards, 6 touchdowns. But his yards per catch, he averaged 25 yards a catch this year. 25. His longest was 86 this year on 26 catches. 26 catches, 600 plus yards. You know how insane that is? 26 catches? And then you look at what he did this year for Tennessee. He's had games, he's had 300-yard games. 300-yard games. He had 3 catches in each of them. 3 catches. 3 catches, which I love. I love Dante. Talk about Tim Patrick replacement. This dude's like perfect. True act, 6'5". And he's a burner, big, physical, jump ball guy. I mean, there's someone different. It's a different wide receiver. I had Trey Harris last week, but Dante Thornton, watch the tape. This dude is a freak athlete. At his size, to move the way he does is pretty impressive. So, all right. That's what I did at 196. Got a wide receiver. You know how Brad drafts at 196. Watch Dante Thornton turn into a great player. Just how it works. All right, let's keep it pushing. With the next selection. Took a very familiar face. Ty Robinson. Had to go defensive line. I just did. Ty Robinson was available. You guys know Ty Robinson. The guy's got a lot of versatility to him. Okay, he's just another high motor guy. Savion Jones, Ty Robinson, high motor, both of them. James Pierce. Notice, you take a James Pierce, and there is some risk to it, but I think the risk will pay off. But even if James Pierce flames out, which I don't think he will at all, I don't think that's going to happen. You're going to get a really good player. But you have Savion Jones, Ty Robinson. You're drafting other guys, too, that are going to be really good players, in my opinion. And Ty Robinson is a high motor guy, great against the run. He can rush the passer. He's got a rare combination of size and speed. When you watch him at the combine, he ran a pretty impressive 40 at 6'6". I mean, what was it, 290 pounds, something like that. He is a massive dude, like massive calves, arms, just a humongous dude. It's crazy. Pat O'Connor replacement. That's what Ty Robinson is. Ty, I mean, seriously, he can play. He's got versatility. He can be a true edge. He can play pretty much anywhere, which is what you're looking for when you're taking a guy, especially this late, but just in general. I think you got a steal here. At 228, you get Ty Robinson. It's pretty impressive. All right, let's keep it pushing. Next pick. This guy I've taken before, and I think it's a perfect player because it's like size, everything. Smail Mondon, linebacker out of Georgia. Notice I got 2 Tennessee players, 2 Georgia players. So SEC, which is important. I think. Oh no, I got some Big Ten action in here. I got Big Ten in here. I'll say, well, I got some Big Ten guys, but SEC Big Ten. Smail Mondon Jr. He is a 6'3", good size. I love Smail. He can play special teams for you. And I think at some point you're probably going to have to draft a linebacker. I know the Malcolm Rodriguez, unless you want to bring him back, but just to have another linebacker on the roster, especially as Anzalone gets a little older, just to have some depth there. You cut Germ. I know they just brought in Grant Stewart, but still, Smail Mondon is a really good late round pick. And some team's going to like him a lot and take him. I don't even know if he'll be here at 244, but in this situation, if he is, it's a great selection. I mean, it just is. Smail Mondon. Why wouldn't you want to take him? So, yep, this is the player I decided to go with. Happy with him. Love the guy. I've started to watch him more and more and really like him. You know, there's things he needs to work on, of course. Like there are lapses in his game, but that's why he's 244. You know, like with the right development, which Kelvin Shepard as a defensive coordinator, I'd say that's a pretty good start for any linebacker, especially a rookie. So this is my mock. This is my Detroit Lions NFL mock 6.0 for the 2025 NFL draft. Let me know what you guys think, because I've done 6 of these and they've all been very different. I don't like to force different picks just for content. I do. I want you guys to know that I believe in the players I take. I don't just take players to take them and be like, well, this week I'll do this because it's interesting. No, I believe these guys are all great players, would be great players for the Lions. This is just personally my preference. And you guys have been really supportive on these videos. So, and I appreciate that. So let me know. Give me a grade. Give me a grade on the mock. If you walked away with this, by the way, no trades, which is unrealistic. Brad's going to trade, but just hypothetically, this was the draft. What grade would you give it? And I'm not soft. You can give me whatever grade you want to give me. You want to say F? Go ahead. D, C, whatever it is. I don't care. Because I appreciate the criticism. I do. But I like him. I like these picks, guys. I don't know. The boys are going to have to really step up today if they're going to want to beat me. They just are. Boone and Lukas are going to have to bring it if they're going to beat this draft. They just are. I see it. Gato Boy wants solid A. Shift God A+. Malik between A and A+. I'll take an A. A's good, man. You get an A- on a quiz or a test, you're happy. I don't give a shit. I don't care about an A+. I'll take an A-. So I love that. Appreciate you all. Mark Royal, A. Motor City said give me an A as well. Appreciate you guys, man. Silent, I'll give it an A. I just don't see JPJ at 28 for the Lions. I mean, that's fair. I can't be mad at you, Silent. I can't. Levi, I say B+. I'd be happy if you walked away with this. Hey, appreciate it, Levi. That's still, hey, I'll take it. I will take it. Now, like realistically, guys, you know how I operate. You know, I'm going to take who I want to take, but if I'm trying to be a little objective, do I think there's a possibility the Lions just say no thanks to JPJ? I do. I really do. I think that's not a crazy thing to say. Like, I think there's an opportunity, Brad. I think there's a real opportunity of Brad looking at JPJ at 28 and saying, I'm good. I don't want to deal with it. I don't want anything to do with it. And that's why I think trading out is probably more on the table than people think. And although I disagree with passing on a player like that, it's just what if you have a philosophy as a GM, you can't go away from it. And and not everyone has to have the same philosophy. Like Howie Roseman and Brad Holmes have different philosophies, and that's okay. You know, that's fine. The way Brad approaches it and the way Howie does, they're different, but they don't go away from it. So the way Howie's been doing it, it works for him. The way Brad's been doing it, it works for him, and I can't blame him. You know, I don't expect Brad to bend the rules for anyone. I just don't. Ghetto Boy Juan says, what made you cut your hair? I mean, honestly, Ghetto Boy Juan, I just woke up and said, fuck this. You know what I mean? I just said, I'm shaving it. I'm getting it down. I'm done. Will it come back? Probably. But, you know, no, I'm not going to the military. No, I'm not, you know, I'm going through like a Kanye West phase or anything. I'm not like freaking out, crashing out. All I'm doing is I'm just shaving it, getting it short. You know, that's all it is. Trying something different. So it is what it is. Demond says Jeff lost a bet. Didn't lose a bet. Did not lose a bet. Maybe me losing the bet. Maybe me losing the bet inspired me to keep cutting it. Who knows? Maybe they open up a different can of worms. Ghetto Boy Juan says you kind of look like Randy Orton. It's tough though. Randy Orton. That's an interesting comp, man. That's an interesting comp. No, I'm not. I'm not going to prison either. First you shave your head, then you teardrop tattoos next. You know what? Why not? Why not? Fuck it. Jesse says Jeff doesn't love his hair as much anymore like he did 3 years ago. Yeah. Hey, if you have long hair, I mean, people wouldn't understand. If you have longer hair, you got to keep up with it, man. It's a bitch. You got to keep up with it. You got to wait. You got to do it. You got to take care of it. You just like, there's just one less thing I have to worry about. You know what I mean? One less thing I got to be concerned about. Just sports, work, relationships, the hair. You just don't worry about it, man. You wake up, it's like this. You go to bed, it's like this. It's all good. Yeah, just like Crazy Clown. It's much easier and cheaper to just take clippers to it. Shift God Malice at the Palace 2.0. That was crazy, man. I live for that shit. I love it. I love Isaiah Stewart. I do. And people from other fan bases want to say, who is this guy? You know, it's just like, who is this guy? I haven't seen a highlight of this guy besides fighting. It's like, okay, then you don't watch the Pistons then. Okay, go watch. Especially his post defense. Please. Go watch. Michael says, I've been balding since 18. Shaving your head is totally the way to go. Cheapest haircuts. Michael, man, you're cooking here. Jesse says 100% Jeff. It does blow. I had the longer hair for a little bit and it does suck. Yeah, you can't. It's everyone with long hair agrees. Like I have buddies that have longer hair and they are okay with it, but they're like, dude, it's a bitch. You know, you got to take care of it and put hair product in it. I don't want to do that. I just want to wear hats. And then if I wear hats all the time, then what's the point of long hair? Just shave it. Screw it. You know, and the haircuts are crazy. I mean, and silent haircuts are getting crazy now. Yeah, you go to some barbers, man. It's like they're getting to the point where it's getting a little crazy. Luckily, I got a good barber. I shot at Spencer. Fair price and everything. But yeah, some of these barbers are crazy. For a haircut, you're going to have to get in 2 weeks. I'm paying $70. And I'm going to need a new one in 2 weeks? No, I'm good. I'm good. These haircuts are ridiculous, man. I'm talking about real haircuts, all right? I'm not talking about like Lady Jane's or anything like that. I'm talking about like an actual barber. Not like Great Clips. Credit to all those places. Listen, they do fine. They're fine. There's obviously a market there. But you go to a nice barber, it does get crazy now with the prices. It does get crazy. Toasty Waffle says, ladies low-key like the buzz cut. Hey, Toasty Waffle. My lady likes it. You're cooking here, Toasty Waffle. You are cooking here. Lupe says, Jeff, are you going to follow the UFL? And also, what do you guys think about recruiting from the UFL? So thank you for mentioning this before I end the show. We're going to the Panthers game this week. And the Panthers actually just won over the weekend. So shout out to the Panthers. You want to watch some football, Michigan Panthers. It's a fun time. Really. We're going to the game this week. We're going to check them out. We might have the Nakua brothers on soon. Puka's brothers are in the UFL. They're doing a great job. Samson Nakua scored a touchdown for the Panthers this past weekend. We might have him on soon. So, yes, we're going to be covering the UFL. It's on our social media pages. We'll be talking a little bit about the UFL, and then we'll be at the UFL games. So, it's fun, man. Football is just fun in general. It might not be the NFL, but still, it's the offseason. You get to watch some football. Why not? Guys that, again, could make NFL teams. Jake Bates, prime example. We had a front row seat to watch him in person last year, and he actually had a bad game when we were there. But we were excited to watch him, but he didn't have a great game. And then he went to the Lions and was perfect. So it is what it is. Silence says, simple 2 against the grain with a taper fade is a minimum 50, and that doesn't include facial hair. Yeah, I know. Yeah. If you have a beard, good luck. It's another freaking, however much money. It's like half a haircut, basically. But, yep. Prices are, it's going great. It's crazy. It is. Andrew says, I figure I would stop in to say I'm glad I quit watching and hoping what the Lions will do and wait for the season to start. Been staying in a bit better because of this change. I figured I would stop in to say I'm glad I quit watching and hoping what the Lions will do and wait for the season to start. Been saying in a better. Oh, okay. So, but you know what? The other side of that, Andrew, is my job is to literally say what I think the Lions should do. So I don't really have a choice in that matter, but I get it and I respect it. And I appreciate you for tuning in. So I appreciate that. And I appreciate all you, as always, tuning in on Mondays, supporting me. It means the world to me. I love chopping it up with you guys. I want to do more. I had a blast. Some of the funnest content I've ever made here was the free agency live streams where I was just live for like 6 hours. Love doing that. It's a fun time. I love hanging out with you all, taking phone calls, cracking jokes, talking Lions. It's the best, especially if you have you guys are literally the best. Chill, easy to talk to. You guys aren't douchebags. It's awesome. So I appreciate the support. And even if you poke fun at me, I appreciate that because it's funny. So hey, you guys are my boys. All right. Until tonight, we'll be live 8 to 10 p.m. Be there. And we'll talk some Lions and other things that happened over the weekend, like the Tigers getting obliterated. So we'll get to that. But until later, I will catch you all. Much love as always. Peace.